Sci-Fi Channel and Alien Voices proudly present a Halloween trilogy, beginning now with Rudyard Kipling's The Mark of the Beast.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost.
We'd lost touch, Strickland and I, after I left the regiment, so I was surprised to receive an invitation to his wedding. It was not until later that evening at the banquet that the memories of our horrifying experience came flooding back. At the center of the banquet table was a roasted calf, its glazed eyes retaining the last anguished recognition of its own demise. The chef placed a long, sharp knife against the calf's neck, and in a single stroke, the head fell neatly from the torso, oozing rivulets of blood onto the white tablecloth, and all the while its sad eyes stared at me. It was then that I felt Strickland's gaze from across the room. His face was ashen, his hands trembling. He had the look of a man wrestling an inner demon. Of course, I knew just what he was thinking. The monkey god, and how its eyes glowed red in the instant before the leper pounced, but I'm getting ahead of myself. My story began 7 years ago in India, the Punjab. It was New Year's Eve, and we were pissed. Strickland was a decent enough chap.
Oh, I don't know.
But Fleet, an unassuming little man, was a beastly drunk. Why we suffered his company, I shall never know. That night, that fateful night, we decided to take a shortcut through a hideous part of town populated by untouchables.
My God. This place is a running sewer. Hindu stink is everywhere, and listen to that sing-song nonsense. Hey, lads, what say we go unwind some turbans, rub a few bald heads, eh?
Not a good idea, Fleet.
Why not?
It's a special night for them. Something about their monkey god.
Where's your backbone, man? Where's your British pride? Listen to that. Secret midnight ceremonies to monkey gods. It's the 19th century, for God's sake.
Bakshish, Sahib, bakshish.
You push off, you ignorant mongoose.
Easy on, Fleet. Let's go back to my place
No.
and sleep it off.
No! I want to give them an offering they won't forget.
The temple, 50 yards away, was a ruin of stone columns open to the moonlight and the jungle.
Out of my way, priesty. I got an offering to make.
Fleet, come back here now.
Fleet knocked the priest aside and marched up to a large altar. In the middle of the temple, there sat a great stone monkey. The ceremony was already in progress. The zealots were the most wretched human beings imaginable, yet their chanting was hypnotic. Of course, Fleet was oblivious to anything but his own rage.
Look at you. Grown men in diapers bowing in front of a stone monkey. Makes me sick.
Fleet,
Ah, bugger off.
look, you're acting the great white hunter.
That's a capital idea.
What are you doing? Oh, my God!
Fleet shot one of the little baby monkeys preening itself at the base of the sacred idol. Pieces of monkey brain splattered the congregation. Before Fleet could cock his pistol again, the priest wrestled it from him.
You have defiled the temple, offended the monkey god. Go!
No one tells me what to do.
Fleet, stop! Then that fool bounded up the altar steps, took the lit cigar from his mouth, and snuffed it out right in the middle of the monkey god's forehead.
That is what I think of your monkey gods.
We were horrified.
Fleet, look at the statue's eyes.
The eyes of the stone monkey began to glow like hell's rubies. Yet before we could fathom the significance, a man dropped from a tree above. A leper he was, wearing but a loincloth over his ashy skin, his feet toeless, his hands stumps, a blackened gash where the nose once was, and a gaping hole for a mouth. He let out the most blood-curdling scream. Grabbed Fleet and plunged his silver-daggered teeth into Fleet's chest.
He's bitten me! He sunk his teeth in my heart!
The blood spurted at an awesome rate. Fleet staggered towards us and then fainted in our arms.
Grab his legs, Hughes, and let's get the hell out of here!
We ran like hell from that temple, shifting Fleet's body between us as best we could. When we were certain we were not being followed, we set him down for a moment to collect our thoughts. His bleeding had slowed, but a strange, brownish froth began to ooze from his nose and his mouth.
Well, this is beyond anything that I have ever seen.
We carried Fleet to Dr. Weiss, an expatriate who lived across the river.
Yeah, schnell, inside. Inside. Damned unfriendly hour to treat a madman.
He's delirious. Don't you have something to calm him?
Weiss used an age-old remedy. He punched Fleet in the jaw and knocked him out cold.
I say that's not very doctorly.
That is quicker than morphine. Get his shirt off. Was he in a fight?
Oh, we disabused him of that notion and told him the tale of the temple and the leper and the bite.
Good God.
No nose, no lips, no fingers.
No lips, but a full set of sharp teeth. Gentlemen, this is no leper bite. This is the mark of the beast.
We looked at him in total ignorance. What did he mean, the mark of the beast? We then watched as Weiss prepared an ointment of alcohol and camphor. And when we saw it hit the wound, the bubbling and searing jolted Fleet back into consciousness.
I'm hungry. What's to eat?
Hungry? We looked at him agog. Hungry? At that moment, the good doctor's cat crossed the threshold of the front door. Fleet flung himself on the hapless creature with ravenous abandon.
What are you doing? What are you doing to my cat?
In seconds, Fleet bit open the poor creature's throat, then turned it upside down, and with the nail of his index finger, unzipped the cat's belly and feasted on its innards.
God, my God, what is to be done here?
That's the only thing now is to restrain him. I'll get some rope.
He's an officer in Her Majesty's regiment.
You mean he was?
He still is. Fleet is a good man if he stays away from drink.
Are you crazy? You listen to me, you twit. Whoever he was, he's gone now. Do you understand? He's gone. I say we truss him up and sit tight. Maybe, just maybe, he'll survive until the morning.
How dare you!
Shut up! You do as I say. Our lives depend on it.
Oh, that's tasty.
We waited until Fleet had finished dining before luring him to sit in a large chair in the center of the room.
Young cat's a tasty treat it is, but it's really more of an appetizer than a main dish. Oh, now raw monkey brains. Oh, sauteed in blood. Oh, that's delicious. Salty, fresh, tangy. Oh, there's nothing better. Nothing.
While Fleet spoke of exotic cuisine, Weiss bound him tightly to the chair.
Yeah, these ropes will hold a gorilla.
Just then a howl pierced the night. It came from the jungle. It came from all around us.
Mach schnell! Bars the door! Fasten the windows, quick, quick! There's no time to lose!
We went about our task with deliberate speed, conscious of the ever-growing danger, just as we were finishing securing the house.
Good God, look at him! Look at his face! It's covered in fur, and those yellow eyes!
Listen. Listen. Do you hear? They're coming.
Who's coming?
Every beast within 100 miles. He's possessed. He's one of them now. And they want him.
Well, we stand by our man.
Use your brains, Strickland. Look at his face. What's he remind you of? A puma. A leopard, maybe. But certainly not a man.
I am not leaving him like this. Hughes, give me your knife.
Strickland cut the ropes. Fleet, or what was left of Fleet, just sat there, his eyes fixed on the front door. We made a dash to a large closet in the bedroom as the howls and shrieks were deafening. Just then the front door burst open and the horrors of the night entered. At dawn, we emerged from our hiding place to find the room a shambles. Fleet was gone. Only shreds of his clothing littered the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, a toast to Captain Strickland, royal subject of our Empress Queen. Hip hip. And perhaps the good captain will now regale us with some tales of conquering the heathen.
I don't really care to burden you with my experiences in India, especially as my feelings toward the heathen, as you call them, have changed. Man's beliefs, his rituals, religious or otherwise, are frankly his own business, not England's, not mine.
Strickland and I looked at each other and raised our glasses in a silent toast. I saw on his face my own haunted fear. Fleet disappeared into the night with the raving beasts, but who's to say that we, too, Strickland and I, do not carry our own mark of the beast? Vice disappeared last year without a trace. And every day, wherever I look, the beast is all around me.
And now, The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde.
My experience of ghosts is not wispy-haired phantoms withered of limb and toothless. Oh no, the ghost I once knew was tall, dark, and handsome. A dashing figure to a young girl of 17. We'd come from the hustle and bustle of New York City to the lush, idyllic countryside of England. Father had purchased a wonderful estate just outside of London. My younger brother and I were enthralled at the prospect of having stables and a lake. But most of all, we were enthralled at...
All right, everyone. Now you can open your eyes.
Oh, Father, it's beautiful. It's the most beautiful castle I've ever seen.
It's enchanting, Hiram.
I want to explore it.
Fine, you can explore everything in the morning. It's past bedtime now for both of you.
Oh, Father, I'm not a little girl.
You'll always be my little girl, darling.
What your father meant to say is that you're a lovely young woman and you need your sleep. Didn't you, darling?
Yes, thank you, Lucretia. You say just what I mean. Now, listen, everyone. Before we get out of the carriage, I just want to tell you I got Canterville Castle for a song because the place is haunted by a ghost. So there.
A ghost?
Shh, Washington, quiet.
It seemed all so romantic, and even though I knew Father was teasing, I found myself wishing there might really be a ghost. As the carriage came to a stop, an elderly gentleman stepped out to greet us.
Welcome to Canterville Chase. Here's the deed. You now have full possession of the castle. Lock, stock, and ghost.
My dear man, if we find a ghost, I'll whisk him back to the States and put him on tour with P.T. Barnum.
We'll see.
Just then, Mrs. Umney, a cheerful, bustling woman, came out to fetch us.
Oh, well, bless me now. You've all arrived safe and sound. Come in, come in. I've supper waiting, and your beds have been turned down.
Thank you. You must be the main housekeeper.
Yes, Mum, the only housekeeper. No one else will stay. Castle's haunted, as you've heard, I'm sure. But come in, come in.
Mrs. Umney had prepared a delightful supper in the library, but just as we sat down, Mother noticed a large spot on the carpet next to the fireplace.
Oh, my. What's that?
That, well, it'd be blood, Ma'am. Eleanor de Canterville killed dead on that spot by her husband Simon in 1575.
Well, that'll never do. Can't have blood stains on the carpet.
Mother, I can get that stain out.
Really?
And in a jiff, too, with Pinkerton's agitating detergent.
Good thinking, my boy. Be prepared is what I say, huh?
Just as Washington finished scrubbing away the spot,
There, just like new.
a most unusual thing happened.
Oh,
Miss Umney seems to have fainted.
Oh, what a shame. And I was about to offer her a raise. How does 20 additional pounds a year sound, Mrs. Umney?
oh, that'd be lovely, sir. What with the ghost and all. Well, I best push off. Don't like staying in the house past 8 o'clock. Now, remember, prop a big chair against your door before you go to sleep. I'll be back in the morning. And thank you, sir, for the raise.
Yeah.
Later that night, when my mother and father were sleeping,
Hiram,
yeah.
you're snoring again.
What would you say? No.
Dream more quietly,
Oh,
darling.
but I wasn't dreaming. No, Well, what do you know? We're being visited. The old boy's making his rounds and wearing that crickety armor. Washington,
Right here, Father.
are you ready with that pea shooter?
Ready.
Aim, fire.
Oh, gotcha. You see that right in the holes in your helmet? Watch. Ow, gotcha again.
All right, that's it. Now listen here. We can't have you clanking about the castle interrupting our sleep. Can't have it. I have something that might be of benefit to you as a product of good old American know-how. It's called Sidewinder's Oil. Now here's a squirt here, squirt there, and you won't have to be creaking down these halls anymore. I'll leave the bottle on the banister. 99. Whoa, just a minute. By the way, I think you're overdoing the moaning a bit. Just a friendly suggestion.
the next morning at breakfast, the conversation was all about the ghost.
Well, he shook and he rattled, and I told him in no uncertain terms what I expected.
Oh, Hiram, you were so brave. But you have to admit, Sir Simon is too young and far too handsome to be really frightening.
Oh, Mother, was he really handsome?
Yes, dear. Now go outside and play.
You know, Virginia's so young. I hope this ghost business doesn't frighten her.
Darling, she's older than you think.
That night after dinner, everyone retired to their bedrooms, except me. I hid in a little closet just off the landing. And right at the stroke of midnight,
Rise, you scabs of humanity, or I'll snatch you from your downy sleep, attach you to my steed's withers, and drag you down the steps. Washington Otis, present your ranted carcass.
Here I am, Sir Simon. But look at you. That costume is just plain silly. No one's afraid of a knight in armor anymore. Hey! You want a pillow fight?
You pestilent little runt! Your days are numbered.
No. On the contrary, Sir Simon, your days are numbered. Now get out of here and take your tin cans with you.
they were so mean to him. When he ran away, I followed him high up into a part of the castle I'd never visited. I found him sitting by a window in a small room under the eaves, sobbing and sobbing. Oh, he was the handsomest man I had ever seen. Sir Simon. Oh, I didn't mean to frighten you.
Prevaricator. Your entire uncouth family means to frighten me. And you're trespassing. This is my room.
My family is not uncouth. Well, just a little, but, you know, with Washington, he's a boy. Perhaps if you were less noisy, you'd be treated better.
You presume to tell me how a ghost should behave? I've been doing it for 300 years.
Father says you have a very unconvincing groan.
Oh.
Do you mind? May I hear you groan?
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Please. Please.
Well, no, you really, you put me on the spot. All right.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, even you.
Oh, he was so very sad. I couldn't help but pat his hand.
Oh. No one has comforted me in a very long time. 325 years, to be exact.
That must be very lonely.
Oh, yes, it is. But worse than that, I'm so very tired. Now, you won't tell anyone I said this, will you?
Cross my heart and hope to die.
Oh, you're far too young and far too beautiful to die. But me, I've been a very wicked man. I killed my wife.
I'm sure you are very, very sorry for it.
And I've despised myself for these 300 years.
Such a long time, without a rest.
But that's a ghost's life, to remain forever unchanged, alone. Dear Virginia, I would like nothing better than to sleep and to dream. But I'm afraid I am forced to live on, repenting for all eternity.
And so the hours flashed by as roses in autumn. He poured out his heart, and I mine. And as the crystal moon rose, he whispered the saddest words to me.
I want to die.
Oh, Sir Simon, I don't want you to die. I do want you to find peace.
It is said that even a ghost may die if one truly good person pardons him, even for a moment.
It was so easy to pardon him, for I loved him. I told him so. And he bowed low, kissing my hand. Winds began to blow, and we descended into a dark, lonely tunnel where appeared the most frightening creatures. At last, we came upon two giant black doors, death's doors. Suddenly, the doors were flung open, and there stood the angel of death, opal-winged, with eyes bright as suns. I sank to my knees in prayer.
So, you have come at last, Simon de Canterville. Your escort is pure of heart, and I see that she pardons you.
Have mercy on his soul.
It is done, child. Now, I bid you both enter.
No! No, she must be allowed to return to the living.
No one who sets eyes on the angel of death returns.
But Virginia must be the exception.
And he moved toward the angel and whispered words in his ear I could not hear. The angel relented. Sir Simon then pulled me up into his arms and kissed me. The next thing I knew, my family was all about me.
Oh, darling,
Virginia,
you gave us
you
such a
frightened us,
scare.
Virginia.
Where have you
Sir Simon will haunt us no more, Father.
What great secrets have you witnessed, child?
God has forgiven Sir Simon at long last for his terrible sin. Oh, and Father, I am no longer a child.
Oh, indeed. I can see that with my own eyes.
A few days later, on the most beautiful hillside, we laid Sir Simon to rest. We lowered his coffin into the earth under a large tree where the grass grew long, the moon shone bright, and the nightingales sang. Peace at last. The following spring, I married the young Duke of Cheshire. I was very happy. My husband and I stayed on in the castle and watched our children grow. Though I've traveled the continents, I always return to Canterville Castle because it is there I find the greatest contentment. Sometimes, when I'm alone in that secret turret room, I wish that Sir Simon would make one last visit. I want to tell him what it was like, walking back through the doors of death. And to thank him for giving me the greatest of gifts, living and loving. But I suppose that soon enough, I'll be able to deliver those words of gratitude to my dear ghost.
In tonight's Halloween trilogy, The Cast of Amontillado by Edgar Allan Poe.
Revenge. Revenge. Sweeter than wine. More alluring than gold. More consoling than love. Vengeance will be mine. this very night. Vengeance against someone I hate with every fiber of my being, who has heaped ruin on my family and impoverished the great Venetian house of Montresor. This night, you will be repaid. Now, at last, my years of waiting have come to an end, and every offense, humiliation, and outrage I have registered in my memory's ledger will be accounted for by that most depraved liar and cheat, that foulest fool, that despicable... I will have him tonight. Boatman, please, hurry. I'm already late, meeting my dear friend, Signor Fortunato.
Fortunato? The jolliest wine merchant in Venice. Not an hour ago, I ferried him to San Polo.
Oh, what good fortune indeed. Is he not a wonderful fellow?
Si, senor. He is the most generous of men. This evening he paid me a fistful of gold. My family prays for him daily. He is an angel.
An angel? Not yet.
Your stop, senor. Campo San Polo.
There's something for your labor, signore.
Grazie. May the Lord keep your soul safe.
The Lord can keep my soul as long as he pleases. I have no need of it. Ah, look who approaches, and with one of the most painted whores in the city.
Montresor, what a surprise. Caramella, may I present my friend?
Your great, dear friend. And if only I had known you would be here tonight. You see, several casks of Amontillado have recently come into my possession.
Amontillado? Well, how could you afford such luxury?
And wishing to verify the sherry's purity, well, naturally, I would have approached you first. But you're always so busy. So I'm on my way this night to find Lucchese.
Lucchese? Well, he couldn't tell Amontillado from canal water. No, I'm the man with the golden tongue. The greatest vendor of wines in Venice.
Well, do I know? But I could not think of interrupting your revels.
Oh, nonsense, my friend. We'll go straight away. Where do you store the Amontillado?
At my palazzo.
Well, to your vaults. Without delay.
But you said we'd go dancing.
Ah, yes, Fortunato. This beautiful lady mustn't be disappointed. And I fear the dampness might affect your lungs.
Yes, your poor lungs.
No. The Amontillado will warm my bellows. Avanti. Wait for me at the bridge, Caramella.
Si, mi amore.
Avanti.
I made sure nobody followed me. Made sure no one was behind us as we hastened to my palazzo. And all the while, I felt a giddy urge to push the damnable Fortunato into the canal. But drowning a man who cannot swim would hardly be as pleasurable as what I had in store for him. A mere drowning could not avenge my father's death. My father, whose heart stopped when the heartless Fortunato tore up the deed to our winery and spat in his face. The iniquity! At last, we arrived at my home. I fumbled with the keys, such was my state, and as the great door opened...
My God! What is that pestilent smell? I don't think I can bear it.
Ah, but you must. The Amontillado awaits, you see. Truth be told, I could barely tolerate the stench myself. We continued down the ever-narrowing tunnel. The walls as slick and clammy as toads' bellies.
Stench, it's suffocating me.
Oh, truly, no, not suffocating you, no. Come, not much farther. The Amontillado.
Don't pull me, Montresor, I might fall. God knows what's underfoot.
Yes, God knows. Down, and still down we climb. Him coughing and gasping. Our feet slipping among slugs and worms and the excrement of vermin. Finally, our torches dimmed for lack of oxygen.
Where's this damned Amontillado?
Soon.
I cannot go another step. I will die.
Oh, my friend, you underestimate your strength. Only a little farther, I promise. Here's a bottle of claret that will fortify you. Drink. Go ahead. Drink the whole thing. Good, yes. Drink up, dear friend. The whole thing goes. Good. Now.
That's much better.
Now to the Amontillado. Just a few more yards.
What is all this crunching? What are we stepping on? Bones? My God, Montresor. They look like the bones of human skeletons.
Yes, my family. These walls contain hundreds of relatives. So good to be surrounded by families.
So good. Your grandfather was a naive fool who paid for wine and got vinegar. He was the first, Montresor, to squander your fortune.
Yes, I know. He was a very poor businessman. Oh, it was difficult at that moment not to take the jagged claret bottle and rip open his carotid. I could have sunk my teeth into his fat, putrid flesh. But now, oh, surely you don't mean to impugn my family.
But I do, Montresor. Your father was swindled even more times than his father. He had a positive talent for poverty. A genius.
Oh, to suspend him over a sharpened pike, or to disembowel him. I would eat his intestines as he watched.
And your son, the only Montresor with brains. And what did he do? He bled your family of its last lira, and you watched. Ha! I feel for you, Montresor. I pity you, every member of your aristocratic family. My torch is guttering. It's time to go back. My whore is waiting.
Oh, no. We have just arrived, Fortunato. We are here. We're just in time.
I can't see a thing.
At last, we had reached a tiny alcove where some rusted manacles still held fast to the stone wall. Come, see, Fortunato, look what I have found. I giggled with insane joy, and Fortunato, ignorant of his fate, joined me in my mirth.
Oh, what have we here? Is this a torture room with irons? Ooh. It's frightening. It's terrifying. I'm shaking with fear, Montresor.
I slipped my hands and feet into the shackles, giggling all the while like a boy. Here, try them yourself, Fortunato. Can you imagine the tortures suffered here?
Oh, hellish, diabolical.
Try it. Try the shackles. I'll lock you in. You see, I have the key. Here, it's a perfect fit.
Ow! Pinched my wrist there. Now, easy. I love a jest, but loosen me a bit, will you? Where are you going? Ah, fetching the Amontillado.
Hush, my friend. I only go for my tools.
Excellent. Only get me out of these manacles first. What have you got there?
They are stones, my friend. Stones, ancient as time. Older than the bones on which you stand. And mortar to hold them in place.
Stones? Mortar? Well, what are you doing?
Well, I should think that would be apparent. I am breaking you up. I aim to squeeze the life's breath from you, you perfidious liar, you fat braggart, you thief, you despoiler of my family.
Oh. Ever the jester, huh, Montresor? You know how to extend the game. But I think it's time.
Oh, that was for my grandfather.
Oh, surely you don't hold me responsible for something that occurred 20 years ago. Well, now that I think of it, your grandfather was more of a philanthropist. That's it. He was generous to a fault. Now let's say we stop this game.
And this stone is for my father. A prince among men.
Yes, he was indeed. I remember the time when I was a boy, when he patted me on the head one day for no reason. Please, Montresor, come to your senses.
Oh, my senses are tingling. I've never been more aware of joy than right now. Imagining you decomposing over the next weeks and months right before my very eyes.
Oh, no! I will give you gold, rubies.
For my only son, blameless, loving, who died because of you.
Please. The air is so close. I beg you. I will do anything. Please help.
I am helping you. I'm helping you along in your pilgrimage to hell. And may I say, the work is exhilarating. Scream for me now. Oh, no, not very convincing. That's better, yes. Now, rest, my friend, for I think it will be a very long night. I left a little opening in the wall, and before the last stone was in place, I thrust in my torch. Ah, peccato. I am short on mercy at the moment. Alas, before the dawn of the following day, I placed my ear against the opening just in time to hear a little death rattle that signaled the end of my sweet revenge. It was followed by the most foul of odors. With napkin round my nose, I placed the final stone, plastered it in position, and then piled the bones of the Montresors in front of my dearest friend's tomb. And it was done. In pace requiescat. Rest in peace.
A mysterious cube opens the gateway to an irresistible dimension of both pleasure and pain in Clive Barker's Hellraiser.
As now available on cassette or CD. Order these great classics now by calling 1-800-411-MIND or contact our website at alienvoices.com. Autographed copies available.